Hey guys, it's Tyler. In case you missed it, we did a full episode just a couple days ago talking about my new PS5, our Extra Life, all the games that we've been playing over the past couple weeks off. So if you missed that one, go back and check that one out. It's episode 393. We ended up breaking up the rest of the episode here because it was just a really long recording session. So this is 394, where we're just talking about all the news that happened over the week, over the last couple weeks. So it's pretty big stuff. Appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you enjoy. See you guys in a few days. All right, now let's jump into our topics here. We got, nothing super duper crazy, but we do have some fun stuff with some cool news here. Starting off with Gables, it finally happened in 7-day. Extra Life Day, Gables. We finally got it. We finally got fucking the Mass Effect Legendary Collection edition was announced. It's coming out in spring 2021. No idea what a price yet. It's right now. It's planned to come out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. But they said there's gonna be forward compatibility where it's gonna run 4K 60 on the PS5 and Series X. It's kind of crazy now. I keep referring to it as next gen, but it's like now that's the new gen. But also they said that a veteran team has been hard at work envisioning the next chapter of the Mass Effect universe. We are in the early stages on the project and can't say any more just yet, but we're looking forward to sharing our vision for where we'll be going next. So a lot of news, not a lot, but I mean a lot of cool stuff coming out of that. We are both massive, I'm not even going to do that, massive Mass Effect fans. But I mean, when you finally heard it was happening, how'd you feel?
Oh, about time. Honestly, It's been rumored for months now. I'm upset that there's nothing in this as a result of a port for the Switch, but at the same time,
that's got to be coming, right?
Well, I hope that would be coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do have the remasters and stuff for the PS4, the Xbox One, going to be coming out this spring. So I'm fairly happy about that. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to be doing with this new project for Mass Effect, whether or not it's going to be a continuation from the events of Mass Effect 3, or if they're just going to try to retcon what they tried to do with Andromeda, but it did not obviously did not stick from what they initially offered.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting side thing. But yeah, BioWare's still hard at work to try to not only try to get the next Dragon Age stuff off the ground, but I think at this point they probably have all but abandoned Anthem.
Yeah, well, they were like doing like an Anthem kind of reboot kind of thing, but then like they were talking about like we're going back to like the drawing board, how to fix that game, and it sounded like okay, maybe they'll have something. I mean, obviously this is before COVID, but like even before this is like end of probably a little over a year ago now. At this point, we heard that like we're gonna like going back to drawing board, we're gonna fix it, and then they kind of did a thing at the beginning of the year before COVID about going back, and like the news came out that it's like the team working on it is like it's like 20 people.
Yeah.
Working on it. So not a lot. So that game basically has probably been abandoned at this point. It's like we haven't heard anything since before COVID about what's going on with that shit. So
yeah.
God knows what the fuck the plan is. But yeah, like Dragon Age 4 is, or whatever they're going to call it, is the next big thing coming on. And they've been talking about that game. I mean, that game's been in development hell for years now. Like that was they had like they were like a year or so into a project, almost 2 years into a project, before they just completely scrapped it and started over again. And they teased it at Game Awards 2018, so almost 2 years now, and we haven't heard anything since. Well, we had at their EA Play, they did some like early concepts shit where it wasn't even like they showed like hey, we've done some voice acting and we have a little bit of artwork done, and that's about it. That's all we've seen of this game. And then now they're announcing next month. I just hate the way EA does shit, where it's like it's cool that it's like you guys are working on it. I'm glad to hear that, but they just announce shit way too early, or it's just like most of their games, like most, it's just like I like what we knew about Mass Effect Legendary Edition for months now. They finally announced it. Cool, it's happening, but it's happening in spring. It's coming out in spring. You're giving us 6 months at most heads up that's happening.
Yeah,
it's like just do that. Just don't. They tell us the shit 4, 5, 6 years too early. It's like by the time the game comes out, we're just like we're tired of hearing about it. Just fucking give us a goddamn game. It's like Battlefront we heard about for 4 years before it came out. With fucking um, Mass Effect Andromeda we heard about 3 years before it came out. Who God knows how long it's gonna be before Dragon Age 4 comes out. This this is kind of like one of those like Starfield Elder Scrolls 6 things where it's like, why did you announce? Or what's next? Is Elder Scrolls 6 next one? Is it 7?
Let's see. I think it's like the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. Okay. So Elder Scrolls they announced the space game I just said. I already forgot the name of it, and then Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield. They announced those both of the Bethesda did at the same convention where it's like Starfield is like years away. They announced it in 2018, and it's like that game is like 5 years away, probably 4 at the earliest. And that means they gotta make this game, do a bunch of post production on it, and then get into Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6 is like a last couple years of the PS5 generation game. So it's like, I hate that. Just don't. Now, and like they constantly get questions about it, and you see Todd Howard out there like constantly, like every time he gets interviewed, they ask him questions about it now. It's like, it's years away, guys. Just, basically stop asking about it. It's like, you did this to yourselves.
Yeah,
you
they did.
Brought it up. You mentioned
Absolutely.
it. Stop. Don't bring it up. Just don't bring it up. Don't do it. Like maybe even announce Starfield. That's one thing. But to announce the game that's 4 years away that we're making after that game, Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, because they totally demean whatever they were trying to aim for with Starfield with Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. It's like you guys
people want Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, it's like you guys make one, maybe 2 games a generation, and you just announce the next decade of your games. And it's like, of course people are gonna people care more about Elder Scrolls 6 than they do Starfield. It's like, yeah, maybe you should have done Elder Scrolls 6 than Starfield. I don't fucking know, but even so, like, yeah, just stop it, EA. It's like, stop it. You're trying to make some goodwill. It's fine, but the problem is you announce the game super early and then your games aren't good, or there's drastic problems with them. So there's a reason why people are really excited for Mass Effect trilogy more than they are the next Mass Effect. That's a bigger issue. Is the fact that I am more excited about the trilogy than I am Mass Effect 5 or whatever it's going to be called. That's the issue. But yeah, I mean, not to get too negative, fucking ecstatic. I'm so happy that we finally have it. There's like a little trailer out there. It's like 45 seconds. There's no gameplay or anything. But my biggest thing is I want to see what Mass Effect 1 looks like, because that was the one that I put the most work into and bringing that one up, because the going from 1 to 2 was just a massive change, in the engine and the game style. But moving on to, I mean, this is a little one. I don't think we have to really spend too much time on it. The Medium, which was like the second big game that Xbox was pushing over the course of the year for the launch of Series X after Halo. Obviously, Halo got delayed. Didn't know when it's going to come out. This game is the one you're running in 2 like realities at the same time. It was supposed to come out on I think a lot of people thought it was a launch game. Ended up being coming out December 10th. Now a week after Cyberpunk got delayed to December 10th, and the Medium has been delayed to January 28th. But they came out and said because COVID being pushed back. I'm sure part of that's true, but I also they probably look at the landscape where it's like, this is like coming out, even if that game came out December 10th with no competition, and everything, if Cyberpunk came out on Thursday like it's supposed to, this Thursday like it was supposed to, that game probably would have just kind of got lost in the shuffle. So it's a good thing it's getting delayed, but also a very good thing it's getting delayed when probably the biggest game to come out this year, and for at least for a long time, is coming out in Cyberpunk. That's gonna be the big game that's gonna take over everything. It's gonna take over like the hardcore gamers, then the casual gamers, all of them. That's gonna be the big hotness. So it's probably a smart move to get the fuck out of the way of that freight train. What about you, Gables?
Yeah, that's probably much the smartest decision on their part and stuff. I mean, the Medium, it's sad that it's not going to be released by the end of this year, but at the same time, the end of January isn't exactly a bad starting point considering freaking Cyberpunk releases in December.
yeah. I mean, and I don't, as of right now, I think there's a lot. We don't have a lot of knowledge about what early next year looks like. So, I mean, I think usually we have a good idea about this time what the first few months, and I think right now we have like Mario 3D World is like February 12th, and that's about it. Like Far Cry 6 got delayed. Yeah. So and then like Ratchet and Gran Turismo for his half games, but like that's all we have. So yeah, not a bad idea. So usually into January there's like a couple like Capcom loves to release a game. Maybe Resident Evil 8's around that time. I don't know, but like Capcom loves to release a game the last week of January. But other than that, it's usually pretty weak month, so that's a good time to come out. Next up though, Gables, we have a lot of fun. You know what? I'm not gonna do that one. We're gonna do something else first. We're
Okay.
gonna do um, not one, not two, but three AEW All Elite Wrestling games were announced earlier this week. So you were really excited about this one. You were
Well, yeah.
I kind of heard a little bit about it. Like there were some leaks, but then you kind of told me that. There are three separate games coming. This is from an article from Kotaku, but currently in development. Two of them are phone games, are like mobile games. But one of them is there's no title for it yet. It's currently in production, and it's for next gen, or I guess current and next gen, or last gen, current gen, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. By former WWE 2K developer Yuke's mobile general manager. This is a hell of a title. Let me do this again. Former WWE 2K developer Yuke's mobile general manager simulator. AEW Elite General Manager is one game, and virtual gambling game AEW Casino Double or Nothing. Those are the ones that you are playing on phone. But also they're having where's his name at Gables? Where's his name at? Oh, you're right here. Hideki. Oh, Jesus Christ, I hate
Hideki.
this. Hideki Ishita, who directed one of the best wrestling games of all time, and WWF No Mercy, was announced to be involved with the project. AEW, for people who don't know, it's a wrestling company that came out that started at the end of last year. It's been out for just over a year now. It's actually the owner of it he's a co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's probably the biggest, I don't want to say threat, but the biggest like wrestling company, non-WWE wrestling company to come out in a very long time. It's like come out and like actually have some real money behind it, some real buzz. They a lot of big time wrestlers that would have otherwise gone to WWE and are like some of the biggest names in wrestling that aren't with WWE. A lot of them went there instead. But we've been talking about and complaining about for years and years and years and years, pretty much this whole last generation about how bad the wrestling games have been, and like a lot of us just missed those No Mercy games. Well, here's our chance now, Gables, to see where maybe that's true. Maybe that and then like maybe we can finally get a good fun wrestling game. What you were really excited about this? You were actually messaging me about this. What was your thoughts when you heard this announcement?
Honestly, I was very excited upon it. One, I did not know until I was scrolling up on YouTube one morning about how AEW was having a video game press conference. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, I started watching it, and this conference where they unveiled this game was the most like slap happy, the most like hilariously like self-aware press conference I think I've seen in terms of not all these gaming stuff, but just for the company itself. Because it starts off with like Kenny Omega dressed up like fucking Steve Jobs. It is in and of itself well worth watching, even if it is a bit campy. But as a lot of the mainstream like gamers and stuff know, or even just a lot of gamers know in general, guys like Kenny Omega, guys like Cody Rhodes, they're huge gamers.
Yeah,
They love playing games. And I'll tell you what, they're focusing their like vision in regards to this game is they are in the same boat as we are as long-term wrestling fans and especially long-term advocates of wrestling video games. They want a wrestling game that they can play for fun, you know? And so a lot of the prestige of the games, like wrestling games from back around, say, the 90s and especially the early 2000s to the mid 2000 era and stuff, the game engine, the games themselves were fun to play. That's the precedent that they had in regards of being not only something that you could go back to play years down the line, but also they weren't consistent like simulation style of games. of course you have like the ones that loved playing SmackDown versus Raw, especially for the general manager modes and stuff that they would go for the wrestlers and this and that. But you have people like, say, then you have wrestling fans like me back in the day. I loved the Yaki Corporation style of like games that were presented like in WCW, NWO World Tour. Definitely like with Revenge, with WrestleMania 2000, with No Mercy. Those games, in my opinion, have some of the best replayable like aspects of any type of sports game I've played. Because I've literally spent years playing these games, and I don't get tired of them. I go back to them still from time to time. It doesn't matter whether or not if it's like randomly one day I'll just pop out my 64, I'll play No Mercy, and I just zoom back because I know the controls right then and there. You tap the A button, it's a weight grapple. You tap the B button, it's a light strike. You press the down C, it's a run button. And then if you combine that with the B button, you can do a light attack. It's that simplistic of an approach that attracts people into going through with the whole. It's the controls are simple, but they're hard to master. That is the style that I was very excited about when they were going through their conference saying, hey, we want to make a wrestling game that's akin to No Mercy. So here's what we're going to do in order to help make that happen. And so they got the head director that helped with No Mercy. Plus they got the developer that has been making wrestling games for years with Ukes Entertainment and stuff. Predominantly responsible for the SmackDown vs. Raw series, and especially for classics, say like SmackDown, No You're like, no, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, like SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, even like for some of the mainline games previously before this, well, before the PS4, Xbox One, and like Wii U generation and stuff with WWE 2K14, I felt that was fun. Like WWE 13 when that was still with THQ. Yeah, I thought that was fun too. But since those games from that generation, you were right in regards to the whole scheme of things in this generation. Especially with last year, with the whole dropping of the ball and the whole falling out between Ukes and the WWE, and what and with 2K games as well, because all of that was such the absolute garbage fire that was WWE 20, 2K20. My God, but going from the worst to possibly the best news we could have possibly have heard in terms of wrestling games. I have been craving for years to have a fun wrestling game to play that is similar to that of No Mercy. And honestly, this makes me the most excited that I've been in a hell of a long time. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am. I'm with you on that one. Like, I haven't played a wrestling game in a long time. It's like, what was it? The Battlegrounds one they announced earlier this year. It just looks like trash. And reviews came out, and actually, like, the reviews kind of surprised me. Like, it's bad though. The reviews surprised me, and it was like getting like sevens kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's not awful, but it's not like great either. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, I mean, it definitely sucks where it's like I talk about like I want nothing more than like an NFL Street 2 or NFL's like like one of those style games like either a remake or something of that kin. But like I want I want that license though. I want I want the NFL license. Like that's part of the fun is like playing these playing these teams that you love, but like in a goofy style. Like that's part of the charm and the fun of it. So I don't know. Like I am definitely excited for this. Like I would love to have a good wrestling game and like one to look forward to for the first time in a very long time. Where it's like I played a few of them, but it's like because like I found it for cheap or they're like part of like the Xbox, free game or the PS Plus game. Like that's the reason I've ever played them, recently. And it'd be fun to like actually, like I said, look forward to one again. And it's like, what's the Fire Pro Wrestling? I look, that one was okay. It wasn't like great or anything, but it was okay. But I would love to, get in and finally like play a good one. And this gets me excited. Definitely getting back, getting the guy that was like the main guy from WWF No Mercy, which, yeah, definitely one of the best ones. My favorite is always going to be WWF SmackDown on PlayStation. that to me is the best wrestling game ever. But like it's basically just like the progression of No Mercy was what to me was SmackDown. Yeah, I am all aboard on this. I hope to God it comes out and it's good and it works out, because I would love, like I said, a new good wrestling game, and give WWE and 2K a run for the money, and like kind of force them to adapt and change a little bit, because you always you need competition, so maybe this is competition they need. But moving on to some Nintendo news here. I wish I would. We don't do this to be like Nintendo fans, but we do this because like fanboys. But we do it because Nintendo's the only one that's like really like upfront about their sales figures. Mm-hmm. It's like Xbox doesn't announce anything. PlayStation only announces like things when like it's a big milestone. Like Ghost of Tsushima is like the best selling PS4 new PS4 game. That's like the first new franchise PS4 game of all time. It sold like over 5 million copies. But otherwise, you don't typically hear too much about like specific sales numbers. Well, Nintendo came out like they do every quarter about new updates. All these sales are as of I believe it was was it September 30th? Yes, September 30th of this year. So we got an update on a bunch of sales from them. Not only now the Switch is now at 68.3 million sold, and apparently just on top of that, in the month of October, it was incredibly close to breaking. It was like 5,000 systems sold short of breaking the record for most sales ever by a console in October.
Yeah.
Which I think the Wii did, and I think it was the Wii in 2008 that had the record. I know it was the Wii. I think 2008 was the actual record. The year set the record, but we have an update on all the sales figures. So we talked about at the end of the last quarter about how Animal Crossing was already over the 20 million mark, and was closing in on Mario Kart 8. It's getting closer. It's so now as of right now, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at 28.99 million sold, and Animal Crossing is at 26.04 million copies sold. So won't be surprised at some point in the next 6 months to a year it passes it. Last quarter, Smash Ultimate was at 19.99 million sold. That's now at 21.10 million sold. Breath of the Wild getting very close to that 20 million mark at 19.7. Pokemon Sword and Shield at 19 million even. Mario Odyssey at 18.99. So those 6 at some point here will all be part of the 20 million club. All of which, fun fact, there no Xbox One game or PS4 game, exclusive game, sold 20 million. And they're they have 3 currently, 6 and 3 more that will probably probably by the end of this quarter pass that 20 million mark. And very likely that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe it's going to pass 30 million this quarter with the holidays. And then you got to look at Animal Crossing, more than likely will pass the 30 million mark. So pretty incredible stuff here. But some other fun numbers here looking at here. Pokemon Let's Go sold 12.5 million. Super Mario Party, fuck that game, sold 12.1 million. Splatoon 2 at a surprising 11.3 million. Mario Brothers Deluxe, Mario Brothers U Deluxe at 8.3 million. Luigi Mansion 3, 7.8 million. That makes me very happy, because I would love nothing more than have a new Luigi's Mansion game. Ring Fit, 5.8 million. Mario Maker 2, 5.4 million. So not doing, good numbers. I think any other company would be very happy about it, but you look at everything else, not great for them. But I think that's probably a disappointment. But Mario All-Stars, after just 2 weeks on the market, it came out September 18th. So after just not even 2 weeks, 12 days on the market, 5.21 million sold.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty incredible stuff there. There's a bunch of other numbers here, like Paper Mario Origami King already at 2.8 million. Nothing else I feel like needs to be brought up. But it's just, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon that came out in March, 1.26 million. So just incredible. Like a game like Astral Chain, already over 1 million sold. That's incredible to me. I remember like Beta 2 came out on the Wii U and it sold like 300,000 copies, and like that would they actually talked about that. Like that's sad. But it's like, it's like I don't know how well Bayonetta 1 and 2 are doing on this generation, but it's like that's I'm sure it's doing well. I'm sure it's in the million sold range somewhere here. I just can't find it. But yeah, I don't know. Gables, like, I mean, obviously we it's like this is a great year for Nintendo. I mean, if anybody's I don't know if anybody's capitalizing. I mean, not almost capitalizing, but doing better during this pandemic year than Nintendo. But I don't know how you feel about reading some of those numbers.
To be perfectly honest with you, it's very impressive, especially considering that a lot of these games are still selling even months, years after release, in the case of Super Smash Bros. And also Breath of the Wild. But it's also not surprising as well, because these are the types of games. The Nintendo first-party games are notorious for selling, not really going on sales. They have that prestige about them to where if it's a good quality first-party game from Nintendo, people are going to buy it. We're talking about, and it also goes in line with the console sales for the Switch, for the Switch Lite. These are the first couple of games that people are going to buy. Routinely, going through a place like Walmart in my area, those Switches are freaking selling like hotcakes. Even the freaking Nintendo Switch Lites, even before the whole next generation like console launches of PS5 and Series X and S, I saw a slew, all the colors of the Switch Lite, from the coral pink to the yellow to the freaking teal to like the black one. They were ready in this case in point, and it honestly doesn't surprise me to see games like Breath of the Wild sell first thing, or Luigi's Mansion 3, or even like Super Mario 3D All Stars, which it's gonna be like a freaking million seller. Even it's gonna be like almost probably close to around a 15 to 20 million seller, regardless of when this thing is going to be discontinued or not. But it doesn't surprise me how successful Nintendo has been. I know the main game that's released this year, Animal Crossing New Horizons, that had a tremendous impact, especially with the whole COVID thing was just started to come into effect. People were buying and playing that game in droves, and now with everything else, it's like it's still continuing strong.
Yeah, it's like it definitely. I mean, like, it was like the week or two before shutdown, like that game came out, and it's just been killing ever since. And it's just that game was gonna sell well anyways, but like I'd love to be in the alternate universe where COVID never happened, just in general, but just from the fact that like I'd like to see where like this year in gaming, and just obviously just in the vacuum of gaming, I'd love to be in that universe, but also in real life, I'd just love to be in that universe where COVID never happened.
Very true.
But yeah, like just to see like the difference of like how it's been for everything, but yeah, it's just incredible. And like on top of that, like we're about to get into the NPDs here in a second, but like they're talking, I guess the Switch is on pace to set the record. I don't know what the record is. I don't know the numbers or anything like that, but like they're on pace to break the record for most software sold in a year.
Damn.
So I don't know I imagine it's probably PS2 or something, or probably DS or PS2. But yeah, it's I want to see that. I want to know what the record is, where they're at, and who has a record. But I don't know that. I just read that in the when the NPDs came out. That was something I read about it. But speaking of the NPDs, getting into that here, Gables. Finally have the update on that one. And October was kind of a slow month. It wasn't too crazy, but I think still a very interesting month, all things considered. So starting off like we do every month for number 20. So fun fact here: 9 of the 20 games in the top 20 list, Nintendo published them. So that tells you something right there. Number 20, Mario Brothers U Deluxe. 19, Mario Party. 18, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. 17, Breath of the Wild. 16, Ring Fit Adventure. 15, 15, Smash Bros. Ultimate. 14, Marvel's Avengers. 13, NBA 2K21. 12 is Ghost of Tsushima. 11 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 10, Crash Bandicoot 4. 9, Modern Warfare. 8, Star Wars Squadron. 7, Animal Crossing. 6, Mario 3D All-Stars. 5, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, 4 NHL 21, 3 Watchdog Legions, 2 Madden NFL 21, and number 1 FIFA 21. So all that in there. Really crazy month where, I mean, like I said, not a lot of new stuff. There's only 4 bigger games that came out. FIFA number 1, Watchdog Legions only 3 days on eligible on this list, number 3. So that's good signs for them that it's doing well. I want to see though next month, because next month obviously, or for the month of November, I can't wait to see what that's gonna look like, because yeah, I mean, this month's nuts. You get new consoles, but also, I mean, there's 5, 6, 7 big games coming out this month. But I like to see where Watchdog Legions lands next month. That's kind of like the end of the generation. I know it's got like a free upgrade, but it kind of comes out right before the new generation. NHL 21 at number 4. That was the new game this month or last month, and then Mario Kart Live came out last month as well at number 5. So overall, a pretty interesting list. What do you think?
I'm surprised to see FIFA 21 at number 1, only because
Yeah.
a soccer game in the U.S. selling at number 1 doesn't really happen all that often.
First time ever that a FIFA game has been or a soccer game, or FIFA in general has been a number 1 game for an NPDs.
Yeah, I would expect that in another territory, like say in Europe or something.
Oh, yeah.
But not here in America. I honestly feel like that's akin to, even though Madden NFL 21 is like number 2 on this list, I still feel like that it just kind of shows you how slow release month October was. If you have FIFA 21 right there at their most sold, and then all of a sudden you have Watchdog Legions 3 days in the list. If it had been there for like a full week, it would have eclipsed both Madden and FIFA for the month, in my honest opinion. But other than that, though, there are maybe 1 or 2 surprises that I see on this NPD list. One of them, Marvel's Avengers, fell like catastrophically, in my honest opinion, from the last time. It's now back around number 14 on the list, the NPDs for this month. There definitely has been some issues in regards to certain things, especially maintaining players online, from what I've been hearing about. But as far as in any other, well, it's not really too much of a surprise to see like 9 Nintendo games being like top bestsellers. I mean, we just went through the whole aspect of a lot of them selling incredibly well. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, I'm fairly surprised how high on the NPD list it made. I knew it was going to be on it, but it pretty much nearly took like the whole top of like it was in the top 5 of this month for Soul.
But one thing you do have to remember, not to be a Debbie Downer here, but the NPD takes in the case dollar amount earned, not individual copies sold.
Right, and so that thing's like what, $100 or something?
It's $100, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm quite frankly, I didn't know. I don't want to say I didn't think it would be on the list, but I didn't know if it would be on the list, because it's more of technically it's a game, but it's more of a like the game isn't even like, it doesn't even come with the game. It's a free download that you can just get. So I didn't even know for sure if it would be eligible for the list.
Right. No, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, This is kind of standard list here, all except for FIFA at number 1.
Yeah, like I said, first time ever FIFA has been a number 1 on the NPD list. Yeah, like I said, Watchdog Legions probably would have been number 1 if it came out just a week earlier. Like I said, Mario Kart Live, shocked that. Like I said, not if I known it would be eligible for this list, I wouldn't be surprised it was on the list. Did not think it'd be top 5. I would, if you would have told me it was in that teen area, bottom part of the top 10, I could buy that, but I never would have believed top 5. Star Wars Squadrons, glad to see that on the list. That game got some good buzz around it. It's a game I do want to check out. It's gonna be like $16 on Black Friday, so I might pick it up and check it out, because I heard it's actually a pretty good game. But glad to see that on the list. For a game that came out, but it it didn't have the typical EA push that you expect to see out of a game because it was a smaller game, and it was mostly a digitally pushed game too. It's only $40, so I mean I know it's out. There's a physical copy out there, but it's I think it's mostly been pushed digitally. Crash Bandicoot 4 number 10. Then so I'm happy to see that. Like last month, it was in the I think it was like 11 or 12 range, but it only had like 2 days on the list. So happy to see that it still was able to crack the top 10 for this month, or for the month of October. Marvel's Avengers, man, that's a big one where it's like, yeah, like like I said, it was the second fastest selling a Marvel game of all time behind Spider-Man 2018, and number one last month, and just fell off a cliff. And just it's not the sales aren't keeping up with it. They're not getting new sales, new players, and like I said, like that was an issue a few weeks ago where I think it's on Steam that sales count or not sales but the player count dropped below 1,000 people. And has been like regularly under 1,000, around the 1,000 mark, and just the game. I played the game for about 4 hours. Like I said, I really enjoyed I liked the story. I just hated the actual online parts of the game. Basically, I just didn't like the aspect of like where it's the games as a service thing. If this would have just been a single player game, I would have adored this game probably, but I hated everything else about the game, like just the aspect of playing the game. Yeah, that's disappointing though. Like it's definitely, like I want a great Marvel's Avengers game. Like that sounds great, but it's just like I wonder if it's just the tide of like, I mean, so many games come out nowadays as games as a service, and there's like we've been preaching it for years about. There's only so many that could be out there. Doesn't matter how big of a name, how big of a push you do behind how good your game is. There's only so many out there that can do well, sustain success, and especially at the level of those games, expect them to to be like like Ubisoft expects their games to be, or like a Marvel Avengers, or like a Call of Duty. Like gamers only have so much time in the day, so much money, and we got be smart about what we play, and it's just like you can only be hardcore into so many games at a time, and then also play other games as well, and it's just I don't know. I think it's just a case of that where it's like Division 2 came out, probably one of the best launches we've ever heard of a games as a service where it came out, and everything worked really well. The game ran fine. There was no issues, and the game was supposed to be really, really good, but no one's playing it, so it's sad to hear that and to see that, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's more the case where it's like, this is really cool. Maybe when some updates come out, I'll play it some more. We've had some updates here and there. Hasn't been a lot, but we've had some. Maybe we'll see a boost later when some more content drops. But it's just like, I mean, all the content drops got delayed. It's supposed to. It was the new console updates were supposed to come out. So for PS5 and Xbox on launch date, and they got delayed to beginning of next year, and then all the other content for the new characters and all that stuff got delayed to next year as well. So it's just, I don't know. It's a shame because I that game had the potential to be something really, really good, and it's just kind of going to the wayside. It's gonna be a what could have been kind of game, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, interesting month. Sometimes these lighter months are more interesting to me than the big months because like you for the most part you already know what the top we already know what the top 5 is probably gonna look like for next month. Like Valhalla is gonna be in there. Call of Duty is gonna be number 1 probably. Miles Morales is gonna be in there. Demon's Souls probably gonna be in there. For the most part, we already know what that list is gonna look like. But it's like it's the only interesting part is like where they rank. But it's just like these months where there's like not a lot of big stuff come out, not a lot of AAA stuff come out of it. It's like what's sitting in there. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting month overall. But Gables, I think that will finally wrap it up for us this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys. It's we had a nice little week off there. Not really so much a week off. We played. We had Extra Life, so a lot more time put into that than doing a podcast. But it was nice having a week off and trying to recharge our batteries a little bit throughout the week. But yeah, it's good to be back. We are getting closer to that 400 episode mark. But
yeah, we are.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I was host. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, take care of yourself. Definitely play some good games. But most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.